What's up guys, Brad here, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 most excited decks for Ash's Outland expansion. So we're going to go through one of every single class, and I'm going to probably blow through the first part a little bit more than I want to because I've been interrupted 3 times trying to record this, and I had to redo it every time. So this time is going to be the one. But yeah, we're going to start off, and I'll tell you which ones are my actual most excited. Some of them I just kind of created and didn't know how to really build those classes. I'll let you know what each one is. So anyways, we're going to start with mid-range Demon Hunter. Idea of this deck is to basically try to control the board early on, hold off the early aggression to get to around turn 4, turn 5, where you can actually start playing some of your minions and take back control and do what this deck does best, which is just kind of clear off their board with the dormant effects and end of turn effects, big boys, and finish the game that way. Anyways, so starting off, we have cards that are going to utilize your weapon, hero power, and using your face to clear off things early game. And how we're doing that is actually using the 2 Twin Slices, Chaos Strike, which is also utilized for some card draw to cycle through, the Eldrachi Warblades, and obviously your hero power. Right, so those are mainly just utilized to clear things up early game as efficiently as possible with your face. You're using your health as a resource, but also because they're cheaper, they also benefit with the Altruist, the Outcast, for being a way to do a kind of one-man arcane explosion with the Outcast out. And if you have I-Beam also with the Outcast, it's basically having a swipe with a 3/2 body, so definitely not too bad. And you get a little bit of a lifesteal with it too. So yeah, and then other than that, with the early game, you have 1 minion with Crimson Sail Runner mainly for the Outcast. So if you're able to get him down, draw a card. That's best case scenario. If not, he is just a 2/1 body, so just something to maybe trade into something. Not the worst. Hopefully, definitely looking to get some card draw. Immolation Aura is just a board clear for 2 mana. Definitely solid. Spectral Sight, drawing hopefully 2 cards for 2 mana is good. And finally, we're getting into our minions. This is where we're going to try to stabilize. So Ash Tongue Battlelord, 4 mana, 3/5, Taunt Lifesteal. It's essentially Shield Master with Lifesteal, which is solid. So this is, to me, one of the great defensive tools for Demon Hunter, and a way for us to kind of hopefully hide behind while we gain the board back between our other cards. Then we got Kane's Sun Fury. So if they have a taunt down, trying to protect some of their maybe more powerful guys, you can clear them out. Or in another case is if they have a taunt and they're trying to protect themselves and you have a big boy down, you can close the game out by hitting them in the face. So a pretty versatile card. I think it's definitely worth the slot. Prison Eton, this is one of the best, if not the best, ever printed 5-drops in the game. Being able to, yes, it's dormant for 2 turns, which does suck. So it's kind of like at first you play it and does nothing. Hopefully you have enough health to sustain the hits, but then it awakens and you deal 10 damage. You're probably clearing off their board, and then you got a 10-6 big chonker down there, right? So gotta have 2 of those. Metamorphosis, this is a way also to kind of save your face damage. So you can either use it as like a Pyroblast over 2 turns, or you can take out some larger minions rather than using your hero power to hit 1, deal 1 damage to something down or whatever. Skull of Gul'dan, another one of the most centered around cards of the deck. You want to draw some of the big boys that you have and reduce their cost by 3, and drawing 3 cards, just cycling once again to get to the big boys later on. Ratspike Brute, another anti-aggro card, being able to deal 1 damage anytime they attack. It really helps out later on. So Breezes of Fury, another one of their greatest cards probably for Demon Hunter. This is essentially like Cinderstorm with Boulder Fist Ogre's body attached to it, and the effect happens every turn. It's not just a battle cry. If it was a battle cry, it would be pretty good too, but because it's every single turn, if you get this down and you have like a taunt boy protecting it, you're pretty much gonna end the game after like 2 turns just with one of these down. And then finally, the last one is Clothing Warlord, just big body, 9/5 with rush, so you're pretty much killing anything no matter what that's down if you're able to hit it, if it's not protected by taunt. And then you get a big chunky 5/9 with taunt, so they have to try to get through that too. So this is another one of their best, you know, big demon hunter cards. And then finally, our only one neutral is Maiev Shadow Song, probably the best neutral legendary in the set. And you're utilizing this just to, hey, if it's, you know, turn 4 and you're getting rushed down, they got something kind of bigger out there, you could stall it out for 2 turns and try to gain your board back. And also you have the option of putting Imprisoned and back dormant and have the Awaken effect go off. So to me, this is one of the more exciting, mainly because it is a new class, yes, but also it just seems like a cool deck. It's kind of how I like to play mid-range to control. And so this is about top 4, I would say, for me. Next, we'll go to Aggro Paladin. So this, to me, is probably my least favorite, if not one of the least favorites, I would say, of the set. I don't care for aggressive decks much. And to me, I don't really care for the Librams. I don't really care for how Paladin is shaping right now. And I wanted to utilize a lot of the newer cards, so I was like, well, we'll utilize, you know, do somewhat aggressive, because to me, I think Hand of Vidal is one of the best play cards Paladins has gotten. But going through it, basically, you're wanting to swarm the board pretty fast. So you've got things like the Imprisoned Sungill helps out because, yes, it's dormant, but then it pops up with 3 guys, right? And, you know, you got the usual Knife Juggler combination for, you know, you got guys there. And we're utilizing a lot of Reborn mechanics too. Because I think the Reborn mechanic is pretty powerful. It's kind of like a Death Rattle essentially. And so you want something to kind of stick, so then you can use Hand of Vidal to stick on them, and you don't want them to be clearing everything off, and then you have to, you know, you have nothing to play Hand of Vidal on. So anyways, we'll go through with Imprisoned Sungills, Hand of Vidal, Micro Mummy to buff things up. Plus, you got Reborn, McGurgle, obviously one of the main cards, you know, early drop, and then obviously once he dies and you draw the prime version, he just is, you know, that's a big swing turn for you. Sandwasp Queen, it generates some cards in your hand, and also you're able to swarm the board some more. They're 1-drops, so works out for the Knife Juggler work. Shotbot, another great Reborn card. Underlight Angling Rod, generates some more cards. Fireworks with card generation, right? It's not too bad. Beaming Sidekick to buff up some of your smaller guys. Hopefully you're able to kind of, you know, work them down there. Make some efficient trades with Beaming Sidekick, right? Then Mermy, another just early drop, you know, early drop minion with Reborn. Henchland Hogsteed, the rush guy that dies and takes something out, and then you have a body still. Knife Juggler, obviously, we already talked about. Temple Berserker, I think this is a pretty good aggressive one. Definitely one of the better ones to probably hit with Beaming Sidekick. Candle Taker, definitely just a solid, decent little body. Frozen Shadow Weaver, so I threw this in because maybe they put something down or whatever, and you know, maybe they're also being aggressive too, and you just want to stall out that one aggressive guy. You do that, or they want to make some trades. Freeze their face so they can't attack you. I think this card's actually not that bad. 1 Cult Master for some card draw, because that is one thing this deck's definitely lacking. And Frenzied Fellwing, because once you hit them in the face for 4 damage, it's free. Yeah, I don't care for this at all. I actually struggled trying to figure out what the hell to make for Paladin, and Pure Paladin obviously works. Highlander probably is the way I should have went. But I decided to go for aggro, because most of these decks, I would say, for the most part, are, for the most part, mid-range to control. So, yeah, that's probably my least favorite deck of the expansion right now that I created. Next, we got Galakron Spell Shaman. The idea with this is to utilize the battle cry of maybe Lady Vash, and just there's a lot of like battle cry effects that it seems like, you know, like Shadow Rumbler and whatnot. So I really hope that this didn't just go down again. All right, looks like it might be back. Whatever. Anyways, so I'll just go through them. But Corrupt the Waters, so obviously this is the quest Galakrond Shaman. So the idea is a lot of battle cries, the battle cry effects, and then later on you get the Galakrond to be able to, you know, I hope close the game out with your 8/8s. You get 4 8/8s with the hero power of the quest along with changing into Galakrond. Definitely not too bad. But I once again made this kind of thinking I wanted to do as much as I possibly can with a lot of the new cards, and it seems to actually make use of a good amount. But you know, Evil Totem, obviously one of the better, if not one of the best totems for us. Generate the lackeys. If you can protect it, works out great. Potion Frost. I'm not going to go through the Galakrond stuff. You know, it's Galakrond synergy, right? Sandstorm Elementals is early game. Board clears. Which is Brew. We want to heal up. I feel like this is definitely a deck that's going to get kind of torn apart by Demon Hunter right about now. I could be wrong, but that's just my thought. Lady Vash, mainly you're using it for the later game. We want Lady Vash to die and then be able to use the battle cry, because I'm pretty sure the battle cry is you draw 3 spells and they cost 3 less. If I'm not mistaken, it might be 3 cards. I'm not 100% sure. It's not loading for whatever reason, because Hearthstone doesn't like me. Hearthstone has been struggling right about now. But anyways, then we got Mars Spawn. So it's a 3-mana 3/4, and if you played a spell, you discover a spell. So just another way to kind of generate some cards. Serpent Shrine Portal kind of reminds me of Flanking Strike. So you 3 mana deal. Okay, I think it's starting to come up here. Yeah, so Lady Vash, let's see here. Yeah, so it's just a 3-mana 4/3 with spell damage, but I'm pretty sure the battle cry for the prime is, yeah, so it's 7-mana 5/4. You draw 3 spells, reduce their cost by 3, so it's pretty solid for drawing some stuff. Then Serpent Shrine Portal, it's like Flanking Strike for Shaman, basically with Overload. I threw in 1 Hex for the hell of it in case there's some big boys. I got the scheme one of build up some more AoE. Shattered Rumbler, this is another reason why the quest I feel like works out well, because a lot of these cards, their battle cries are pretty useful. So you can get 2 spells for the Serpent Spawn. You can get the Shattered Rumbler. You can do 4 damage to all of their minions, which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's a pretty damn good Flame Strike right there. 5-mana 4/6 Flame Strike, right? Torrent, because you got a decent amount of spells in here, so it'll 8 damage for 2 mana. Yep, Corrupt Almas. Lurker Below. I like this card. I think it's pretty cool. Not sure how useful it's going to be, but definitely throwing it in for the hell of it, right? Galakrond, obviously. More Galakrond stuff. Maiev, because it's the best legendary. And more Galakrond. And Tiamat for some efficient trades. If you have the quest completed, you get all the traces, which is awesome. I actually think this is kind of a cool Shaman. Don't think it's the greatest. I think Shaman needs more love with their set, right? But overall, I think it's pretty cool. Definitely not like one of my top favorites, though. Now we got Hand Buff, Hand Lock. Yeah, whatever. So, idea of this: control the board, have as big of a hand as you can, and do the old Shadow Council. Well, you do Shadow Council right before Imprisoned Scrap Imp flips open. So you get a whole bunch of random demons in your hand. You get +2/+2, and then once this awakens, they have +4/+4, which is insane. Really big, I think, swing turns. I think this is definitely a pretty cool idea. So our idea is to basically play stuff to control the board early on, kind of similar to Demon Hunter. So we got the Dark Skies, another Breath, because it's got a dragon synergy pack into it. You know, Sense Demons to hopefully draw into the Imprisoned Scrap Imp, because it is pretty much the main card of the deck, and also the Broodmother for some healing. Just because obviously as Warlock you're just going to be taking damage by using hero power. But you got the Crazy Nether Wing for some board clears. Abyssal Summoner obviously is a decent body. You know, you're going to have a big hand, so you're going to have a big taunt guy in the way. The Kaldan the Breaker. I don't know why I just really struggled looking at that name. Really struggled. You know, having a Siphon Soul with a 3/3 body, or just a board clear like a Twisting Nether with a 3/3 body, is pretty damn solid. So that's why we got that there. Validress. Increasing our hand size is always good, especially if you're gonna have, you know, 11, 11 cards with +4/+4, pretty solid. Zerku, the Warped, another dragon. As I said, there's some dragon synergy into it. Earthring Farseers for early game, just kind of heal in case you need it. Maiev, because it's the best legendary in the set, at least for neutral. Twilight Drake obviously makes sense. Dragonmoth Scorcher for some, like, you know, smaller board clear type thing. I mainly threw that in because I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. Dragonmoth Scorcher is rotating out. We have to, on the fly, edit this. And I already think I know what I'm doing. So, I thought about this. I don't know why I didn't notice that that is there. But on the fly, quickly, we'll grab dragons here and look in the neutral spot. I could have sworn for some reason I looked at it and it was safe. I threw this one a deck a little bit faster together. But Cobalt Spellkin's also another one that's not too bad. So you could possibly get some more Shadow Consoles in case maybe you get some bad demons or whatever. And yeah, so definitely not too bad. That was my bad. Totally my bad. Alright. Yeah, so overall though, looking at the stuff, you know, going through it, by the way, the rest of it, Kartut Defender, more heal, and Tiamat, because Tiamat just does some good trading. I think it's a cool idea, and I think it's going to be fun, but I'm not super excited about it myself. I definitely think it's going to be fun, though. I really like the idea of doing the Shadow Console and Prison Scrap them together. So other than that, though, I mean, I've never been a huge fan of Warlock, so just not really one of my things. A Highlander Dragon Priest. So I kind of struggle with Priest. I feel like Priest has some decent cards, but I just didn't really care too much about having... I didn't care that much making it. So I just threw a little bit of everything and just made a Highlander version of it. So basically, it's just Control Priest. One of my ideas is it's got a dragon package in it, so because Dragonmoth Sentinel isn't too bad. But one of my things is get some cheaper spells, and you can do the Veil Weaver, so you can get a bunch of random other priest spells too. But yeah, I mean, for myself, I don't really care that much about this deck, like almost at all. And I almost don't want to go through every single card. But, you know, I mean, it makes sense. Holy Smite removal, Imprisoned Homunculus is just not bad body. It's basically a 3-mana 2/5. Reliquary of Souls, obviously, is going to be in the deck. Renew, just for that, mainly for the early cycle, you know. You heal something, you heal yourself, you get a spell, and then if you have the Veil Weaver down, you get another spell. Yeah, Penance, removal, Shadow of Death, Shadow of Pains, removal, Hypothesis. Just, you know, if you get it on one of the bigger guys, more heal. Mind Flare, coverage, mainly for, you know, hopefully they play something big and you can steal their big thing, right? You get a copy of it. Holy Nova, hopefully deal with the early game boards. I'm guessing a lot of Demon Hunters gonna be out there, and Demon Hunters gonna be somewhat aggressive. Psychopomp, hopefully you get one of the bigger guys, because there are some decent dragons in this. If there is a big demons or big cards in general, big boys, yeah, Shadow Ruin. Chrono Breaker, another kind of AoE, but I've never been a big fan of this card because it doesn't have ton itself. Convincing Infiltrator, just one of the best defensive tools. Psych Split, there's a lot of options for Psych Split. Sandhoof Waterbearer, Convincing Infiltrator, Chrono Breaker. Even you go down here to the Skeletal Dragon. Pretty much anything, realistically. Even like some of the big boy bodies, right? So yeah, it definitely just makes sense. And Waterbearer, obviously, it's great for, you know, healing body. And Reaver removal, dragon, Skeletal Dragon, big body, plus getting random dragons. Can't go wrong with that. Marzani Infinites. Hopefully they play something that you can make use of. Natalie Selena, just awesome removal. Plague of Death, amazing board clear. Zephyr is great, obviously, because it's Highlander. Brightwing, evasive Feywing, big old whelp, Dragonmaw Scorcher, evasive, mainly just some dragons for the neutrals. So, once again, not a huge fan of Priest, but Priest to me, it's like, it'll be decent. I could see it being pretty good or whatever, but it's not really how I want to play, so definitely down there. Now we got the Secret Sunstrider Hunter. So this is probably one of my more excited decks for myself, at least, right? And I thought about it a little bit. Okay, I try to make this as I feel like as competitive as I could have with my game plan in the deck, right? And the game plan is you hold the you cycle through your deck utilizing cards, and you're controlling the board, right? With cards such as Dwarven Sharpshooter. You even got some early spells if you want to, but you gotta make sure you at least save one rapid fire at bare minimum, or two 1-cost spells at bare minimum, right? But the idea is you get Face Stalker down and use your hero power to hopefully get some traps down. And you've got double explosive, because I intend to see a lot of aggressive stuff, because there's always aggressive things. 1 freezing and 2 pack tactics, because pack tactics is one of the newer traps, and I think there's some pretty good options here for cards to be copied. Maybe not so much Hyena Alpha, but other than that, yeah. Then you got the Scavenger's Ingenuity, so this is our way to make sure we kind of draw into the Face Knocker, hopefully, or Hyena Alpha, so then we can get our synergies off with, the secret synergies, some secrets out to thin our deck a little bit more. The Eagle Horn Bow is in there, obviously. We're playing secrets. Unleash the Hounds, a little bit board clear, some face damage if you want. It's versatile. Hyena Alpha, we already talked about. Just, this is an awesome 4-drop. Mark Shot, some more ways to discover a spell, and on top of that, be able to pull off something. So good removal option. The Grand Slam, this is pretty much what it's built around. So my idea is to do the Kalthos Sunstrider into maybe double rapid fire in a Grand Slam. That is kind of what I would like to see, what I'd like to have happen, and I just think that it's gonna be fun. That's all that's all. I don't know if this is like super good or anything. I feel like Secret Hunter is not bad, but this is definitely a fun card, it seems like. And then you're gonna wonder, why the hell is Bad Luck Albatross in this deck? The reason is because, to me, there's not too many beasts. If there's no beasts in the deck, then your Scavenger's Ingenuity isn't really the greatest. But the thing is, also, if this dies, it makes their deck worse. For playing Highlander, their effect doesn't go off, and on top of that, drawing a 1/1 Albatross sucks. Well, I have 2 of them in my deck. Plus, on top of that, Pack Tactics works out pretty well with it too. So there's even more options for them to get some little 1/1 guys, right? So I don't know. I think that there's multiple ways to build this kind of deck. I have like 2 or 3 hunters kind of in mind right now. None of them are face, so don't worry about that. But it's mainly like combo centric, and I think that the Grand Slam is a pretty fun card in general, and really makes use of Cathals Sunstrider as much as possible. So this is up there. This is probably top 3 for me. This is definitely one of the first ones I'm going to be trying out. So next we've got Aggro Stealth Rogue. I went through and basically I was making some budget style decks just for fun. And somebody was like, this is not good, but I'm like, well, I'm only using rare and common cards. It's just something kind of to pass the time while I'm waiting for this expansion to drop, right? Well, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll try to actually make a real decent aggro stealth rogue, right? And it's got the secret package along in it, right? And I came up with the idea of this. So my thought process is, you don't really need sap anymore. It's aggressive, but you don't need sap because you have cards. You have Blackjack Stunner here, right? And you also have removal of. Did I actually put it? No, I didn't put them in here. But you've got some removal, and you've got ways to kind of like stall. Plus, a lot of things are stealthed. But if there's a taunt guy in the way, you got Blackjack Stunner, put it back in the hand, and it costs 2 more, so it's even harder for them to put in. Spy Mistress, this is super aggressive. So 3/1, obviously, hopefully they don't have a 1 mana border clear type thing. But, you're hoping to kind of finish the game pretty early on. So you got Spy Mistress in here, along with stuff to buff it up, like the Ash Tongue Slayer, so you make it immune, hit something, and whatever. On top of that, you got all of the secrets. So Ambush works out pretty well. You have Bamboozle, which is probably the best secret in the deck by far. And, having just some random, something that costs 3 more is awesome. Hopefully you get something good, not bad. And also, hopefully you bamboozle something like the Greyheart Sage. But Cold Bloods, even more aggression, dirty tricks to generate some card draw because you're going to be dropping everything quick. It's not a very expensive deck. If you look at the mana curve, a lot around 2 drops. 1, 2, 3, a little bit of 4. So then Eviscerates, it's aggressive, hit him in the face. Shadow Jeweler Hanar, this is pretty useful for, you want to basically play this down and hopefully you drop a secret. So this is mainly on like turn 4, turn 5, I would say. You want to play this, play a secret, and then maybe play another secret if you're playing, so you do Shadow Jeweler Hanar, maybe play like Dirty Tricks, and then if it's turn 5, you play a Paladin secret that you discover. So really like that, and then you get another secret in your hand. Akama, I don't think is the greatest, but we definitely want some more stealth guys, mainly to utilize Greyheart Sage and some of our, obviously our stealth guys' abilities. Then we Edwin Van Cleef, so he's not going to be very big, but if you could tempo out some, like, you get some lackeys down and getting like a 6/6 body or whatever, it's definitely not bad. It's kind of my thought process right now with Edwin Van Cleef. Just a decent sized body. He's not going to be massive that you like some of the stuff you see. So 2 evil miscreants, obviously one of the better 3 drops. Get the lackeys. They're super versatile. 1 Phantomized, as I said, I expect a lot of demon hunters that are aggressive with 1 health guys. So kind of thinking maybe Phantomized, but this is probably one of the cards you could swap out if that doesn't pan out like I'm thinking. Greyheart Sage is the board, the card draw, some more. Great target, obviously, with Bamboozle, along with Frenzied Following stuff. But anyways, Hook Scimitar, so you combo this out, you get a 3 mana 4/2 weapon. And because of that, you can get a 0 mana Dread Corsair. And if you have Bamboozle down, Dread Corsair turns into a 7-drop. So definitely not bad. Worgen Infiltrators, obviously another just stealth minion for you to utilize some stuff with the Ash Tongue Slayer mainly. And Phrase Fellowing, another super aggressive card that's going to cost 0 most likely. So I actually think this is a pretty decent deck. I think there could be some tweaking to make it even better, but I think this is a pretty aggressive deck that's going to do okay. The only problem is a lot of the minions have 1 to 2 health. And if anybody plays any board clears that are decent, expect a lot of Demon Hunter. If Demon Hunter gets that 5 mana 2/5, the Wrath Spike Brute down, 2/6, excuse me, the game's pretty much over for it unless you blackjack it back. You're definitely gonna have to play. You're gonna have to keep Blackjack Stunner in your hand for Wrath Spike Brute if you're playing against Demon Hunter, 110%. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's actually one of the better ones I've created. It's not like super exciting, and it's not like how I like to play my games, being aggressive and whatnot, but I definitely think it's decent. Going into Incanter Mage. I just call it Incanter Mage because originally I was going to utilize the Incanter effect a lot, but then I ended up changing it up, and now it has 1 in there, and the idea is to reduce some spells. You have a lot of cheaper spells, and you utilize the cheaper spells to do what you can. So obviously you have Evocation, really great card. magic trick, 2 magic tricks, double ray of frost or some freezing, violet spellwing, ancient mysteries, because we got a couple secrets in here, not too many. We've got 3 secrets, so maybe I only want one of these now. That might be a change. We're gonna look and see. But anyways, we got the Astromancer Solarian, Cancer's Flow, Mana Cyclone, double because get some more card generation, more random spells. Arcane Elect, some card draw. Invala. We're gonna have a lot of cheap spells, hopefully. So hopefully we'll be able to get some 5/5s out here. Flame Ward for the anti-aggro, Ice Barrier for some healing, Imprisoned Observer, 1 of 4 anti-aggro again. Netherwind Portal. I threw 1 in because it's new, but I don't know if this is like the best. Double Fireball for some burn. Archmage Antonitis, because we got a lot of cheap stuff. Create some cheap fireballs, burn them down a little bit. A lot of card generation too. A lot of spells here, right? So hopefully get a cheap mana giant. So or 0 cost mana giant. So 0 mana 8/8s are always good. Caligos, you know, play this down. Free Pyroblast. Discover a spell. Get a Blizzard. Get a Flame Strike. Hopefully something useful for you at that moment. Pyroblast, Amazing Reno for board clear. Might have Shadow Psalm because it's in every deck pretty much. And Kaltha Sunstrider because we have a lot of cheap stuff. So maybe get that free Pyroblast along with it too. I think it's cool. I actually like it. I'm thinking to myself, maybe we get rid of Ancient Mysteries. Maybe or reduce it to 1 because we only have 3 secrets. And then maybe like add in just like a Frostbolt or something because we don't have one, and be decent for early removal, right? So an idea, but for now I'm gonna leave it the way it is, and we'll make some changes afterwards. But I actually think this is kind of a cool deck. Then we're going into the Galakrond Taunt Warrior. I was a little inspired from a guy that I saw on here. He posted some Taunt Warrior, Galakrond Taunt Warrior style, and I kind of just made it the way that I felt worked the best. And my thought process, at least when I was looking at it, was, oh wait, Galakrond's kind of cool with it because you get Scrap Golem down. If you draw it with Galakrond, it gets buffed. It actually gets buffed. You know, so it works out that way, and you're able to get some buffs and get even more armor. So my idea, at least with this, is you slowly just work your opponent down. It's like old school Control Warrior. You taunt, you know, it's the it's tank up basically, tank up warrior, which was very annoying for some people, but hey, it seems like kind of fun. But I threw in Imprisoned Gangarg or whatever you want to call him, because this is amazing. 1 mana 2/2, and then when he comes, you get a Fiery War Axe. Just absolutely insane. So you've got to throw him in there. Just the value you get from this guy is amazing. Into the fray, we do have a decent amount of taunts, and mainly Scrap Golem to me makes it pretty worth it. Risky Skipper, as the guy actually pointed out when I was reading his thing, this is your early game board clears. Works great with like Armorsmith. We got our 1 Battle Rage, so we can possibly draw some more cards. So you're mainly just wanting to do some early, you know, board clear stuff to fend off the anti-aggressive decks, whatever, right? Armorsmith, obviously, get some more armor. You know, as much armor as you could possibly get for this deck is the idea. Frightened Flunky, just one of the best 2-drops or whatever for Discovered Taunts. Obviously, any of the Galakrond stuff, not going to go over. You know why it's there. Bloodsworn Mercenary. My main thought is if we can copy Kargoth Bladefist or Scrap Golem or Armageddillo, you know, those are the main ones I'm thinking about for myself. If you can copy one of those, you're definitely having a fun time. So I threw in 1 in. I think the other guy had 2. Sign of Ruin. This is just a great you know, way to clear off the board, right? So kind of reminds me of, oh god, the 4 mana, the Restless Mummy. But I kind of like Sign of Ruin a little bit better. I don't want to sacrifice even more spots because we don't have that many taunt guys right now. But the Scrap Golem, this is kind of what it's built around, right? So just gain armor equal to its attack. Yeah, it's awesome. Armadillo buffs up all the stuff. Galakrond, obviously. Tomb Warden, this guy gets massive if you have this, you know, if you draw it with Galakrond or if you buff it up. I threw an overconfident orc because this is another way to kind of stall out the early game. Yes, it's anti-synergy with risky skipper, but to me, if you buff it up or whatever, it just kind of makes up for it. And even if you just play it as a 3 mana, the 1/6 or whatever, and it has that 3 attack in the beginning, it's just annoying for them to get through. Just kind of stalls out the game a little bit more for you to get further along. Then Shield of Galakrond and Crossbow, yeah. I think it's kind of cool. I'm surprised. I don't know how it's going to play, but I think it's definitely going to be somewhat fun. It's going to be very control heavy, so mind away. And finally, the last one is Miracle Malygos Combo Druid. Alright, my favorite deck I have found in recent times is the Miracle Druid. You play, basically are holding the board down as long as you can until you, usually you're using the side quest to pull out Malygos. But because we don't have Witchwood Piper anymore, you're losing that option. So now basically the idea is draw as much as you can, and you play your Imprisoned Satyr down, and hopefully, you know, well, it doesn't really matter which one you reduce, but you got to reduce one of these down, and then on turn 10 you're gonna have to go off, and you have a lot of options now. So there's a lot of 0 cost cards in Druid right now because there's a lot of ramping cards to get to 7 mana plus. And basically, once you get to 10 mana, you can go off almost as long as you have both Kalthus Sunstrider and Malygos, you're able to go off. So here's the thing, though. There's a gamble of Fungal Fortunes. So this card definitely can... It's basically, if you pull any of the minions in this deck, which there's 3 of, the game's done. You lost the game. Hopefully you don't do that. But so this is an all-in deck. This is not a good deck. It is just mainly for fun. I just wanted to build it because of that. So this is the meme deck that I was kind of talking about. There's a lot better Druid decks, I'm sure, that you can build, but I wanted to kind of go this way because to me, that deck was so fun. But anyways, let's just talk about the 0 cost spells. So we got 2 Innervates, 2 Moonfires. We've got the Iron Bark, and we have Bog Beam. So you actually want to keep as many of those as you possibly can. So when you get to that turn 10, you could do something like Innervate, Nourish to get some card draw, and then you do something like maybe you do Iron Bark on one of these guys into Overflow, and you're gonna be losing some cards, but the main idea is basically Starfire does 10 damage, so there's 10, there's 20, Swipe's doing 9 damage, and you know there's 29, and you got the double Moonfires too. So you got a lot of burst, you got a lot of damage. It's just the fact of getting to there. The other thing too that kind of works with Wild Growth is if you do get to 10 mana and you have Wild Growth, maybe you don't have the cards, you could play Wild Growth and get that 0 mana card that draws a card, and you can keep it for the combo with Kalthus Sunstrider. I'm guessing Overgrowth does the same thing, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it's fun, but man, is it scary because this Fungal Fortunes is the best card draw that you got for 2 mana that you can get at least. But man, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose a lot of stuff for it. So we'll see what happens. I think that there's better options and probably more fun ways to play, but just because of that specific thing, I think it's fun. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you want to know any of the deck links or whatever, just look up Brad's Gaming on Hearthstone, or you can just ask me in the comments and I can link you them. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Take care. I'll see you next time.